Tapping your foot when you play your instrument. A good idea, bad idea, always, never, or somewhere in between? Well, I'm going to be bold up front here and say probably a bad idea. At least if you're doing it as a habit and without being in control of it. Now, this is something I was kind of hesitant to acknowledge as I developed my skills and grew as a player. Because as a young jazz, funk, and groove musician, I had some kind of cool notion in my head that, people who are really feeling the beat, they tap their foot when they play. Yeah, and they bob their heads and they make stank faces. All the time, it's part of it. It's part of the whole image, part of the whole thing. Well, maybe. But as I've grown, I've come to realize that there's just a different way of looking at it. I'm a recovering foot tapper myself. And personally, becoming aware of what my feet are doing and gaining control of them has definitely improved my playing, specifically my time and my rhythm. I think there are a few occasions where you should tap your foot, and a few others where it's just outright necessary. And things like clapping or foot tapping can help groups of young students learn to play together and to feel rhythm communally. Or maybe if you're playing solo guitar and you want to stomp out the rhythm with a big old boot on a hardwood floor. Down, and out, now. That can create a nice effect, kind of a substitute for a kick drum, things like that. There are also some occasions, like when you find yourself playing in a horn section with choreographed dance moves, where some footwork may just be necessary. It all depends on the style, the tempo, and lots of other factors. And to clarify what I mean by foot tapping, I'm talking about the incessant up-down of your toe, heel, or foot on every beat. As if your foot is functioning like a metronome. I don't mean to say that your feet or legs or body should never move at all. That's unnatural and weird also. We'll get to that later in detail. And it's mostly because you're not doing it consciously. You probably learned to do it in school or just started doing it for whatever reason, and now you just kind of do it all the time without being in control of it. You may be doing it because you're insecure about the tempo and you're trying to force the beat into place with your foot. Or this too. Sometimes I've noticed this, that some players will do this with their head, bob their head or move their neck aggressively to reinforce the beat. And if you do it too much or too often, your foot kind of develops a mind of its own and it just goes on automatic pilot. But if you think about it, it really has nothing to do with playing good rhythm. And I've noticed this with a lot of players as they've grown and matured. Sometimes when you reach a more advanced level of musicianship, you realize that this up-down jostling motion that it creates can potentially cause disruptions in your groove, your articulation, or your sound. It's not quite as bad if I'm sitting down, because I'm stabilized by the chair, and that absorbs some of the vibrations. But if I'm standing and playing my saxophone, it's actually really unnatural and weird to tap my whole foot incessantly. Or even just my toe. It affects my arms, which in turn affects my hands and fingers, and that also affects my head and my jaw, meaning it affects my embouchure and therefore my reed and my sound. Try this out for yourself. Just stand up as if you're going to play. You don't even need your instrument. And tap your foot, or even just your toes, moderately. You feel that vibration running all the way up and down your body and through your skull, your jaw, and your teeth? Yeah, that's not helping. I actually think it's better if you're going to move your knees or your hips when you play. Because then we're not creating these shock waves that run through our whole body. We're cushioning it. And our skull and jaw are not bouncing up and down in such a disruptive way as when the one foot is tapping. We're just doing this. So if you just use your knees to rock back and forth like this, alternating left and right, just shifting your weight without picking your feet up and putting them down again, you can find a nice groove that doesn't cause the same disruptive vibrations as the constant patting of a single foot does. You can cushion the vibrations as you just rock back and forth, shifting your weight between your knees like that. You can't do that if you just tap one foot or toe or heel, because you're always going to be off center. So if not my feet, what parts of my body are actually responsible for creating rhythm? Where should I be putting my focus? Well, it's my lungs and my gut. That's a medical term, by the way, gut. That's where I'm pushing air from. It's also the tip of my tongue, which controls the attack and release of the sound, and it's my fingers on the instrument. Remember, as I said in my rhythmic scale video, as a saxophone player or an anything player, you are a percussionist. So anyway, air, tongue, and fingers. That's where you want to put your focus for playing solid time. Not on your toes, not on your feet, not on your head or your neck bobbing up and down. Those are just not involved. They should really only move as a consequence of playing really good time everywhere else, in the necessary places. But not initially, not as part of the initial process of creating the beat. So just try transferring that mental and physical energy that you're spending on your foot tapping to focus more on your air, tongue, and fingers. But also, we can't forget about your ears. That's where the magic really happens. You need to pay a lot less attention to your feet or any other extraneous body parts and a lot more attention to your bandmates, listening to your orchestra mates, your partners in time, your fellow musical groove makers, right? You're all responsible for the groove, not just the drummer, the percussionists, or the rhythm section. It's a collaborative effort. That's where the tempo and the groove really are. You need to be locked in with the drummer's ride cymbal or hi-hat, the bass player's downbeat, the snare's backbeat. Or if you're in an orchestra, the conductor's ictus. Okay, that one technically would involve your eyes, but that's just a fun word to say. Ictus. 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 Or if you're practicing alone, you need to use your ears to listen and lock in with the metronome. Also, the faster you play and the more complex material that you play, the more relaxed you need to be. And I don't think I really observe too much relaxation when I'm tapping my foot obsessively when I'm playing fast. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. And on the subject of this big word that people often use with regards to tempo, internalizing. They always say you have to internalize the beat, internalize the tempo. Yes, but that's only part of it. I mean, of course you do have to internalize, but that's for you. It's important and it's fun, uplifting for you personally to feel the beat, and you should. It should vibrate through your bones and your blood and make you feel alive. But then you got to give it away. It's not just for you. Because tempo, groove, pocket, beat, time, whatever you call it, this is not something you keep for yourself. It's communal. It's for everyone. You want to share it. There's a reason they say a good groove is infectious. It spreads. So you want to externalize the tempo. You want to make it available for everyone else. You want to play in such a way that the audience wants to tap their feet to what you're doing. You want it to come from you. You want to spread that beat around. That's who the groove is for, the listener, the dancer, the head bobbers out there, the audience, the customer, the patron. Time is money. And the better time you play with, the more money you will make. If you think I'm wrong, just try getting any gigs at all with an underdeveloped sense of rhythm. Time is money. Whenever I have a new student come in and play for me, play a tune, a jazz standard, a blues head or something, I always begin by having them play the melody and improvise a few choruses without any metronome, no backing track, nothing, just them alone. Because I want to get a sense of where they are with time. And to pass that test, you have to make me tap my foot as your listener, as the teacher, and let me know where your backbeat is, just from hearing you play solo. Because if you can do that, all by yourself, create an infectious beat, you'll be unstoppable with a band. Now, if you're perfectly happy with your time and you tap your foot like mad, no problem, mate. This video is not for you. And I know there are a few people out there like that. They exist, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm not a dictator about this idea. Occasionally, I have a student that's a mild foot tapper or just a light toe tapper. And if he or she plays with solid time otherwise, I don't mess with it. I leave him be. But I will say that doesn't happen too often. Usually the foot's just kind of on autopilot, or it's overcompensating, or it's a sign of insecurity about the tempo. If you stand mostly still with good posture, and you're mentally and physically relaxed, and you've practiced what you're playing, and you're in control of it, some body movement is probably going to start to happen a little bit anyway when you play your instrument. Might be a little, might be a lot. It's all good. We have to allow people's personalities to come through when they play. Not everybody is exactly the same. Not everybody's going to stand still. Not everybody's going to move a lot. We have differences. We need to let them shine. And maybe when you get totally comfortable with what you're playing and how you're playing it, you might want to tap your foot some just because you feel like it, because it makes you feel good or for show. But I think that's better to work in that order. That's more natural because you put the sound and the music first, and then the body motion is complementary. Maybe it's your feet. Maybe it's your hips, maybe it's something else, but I think secondary contingent foot tapping is more controlled than just starting with a foot tap or a head nod or some other body motion just moving as a part of the process automatically. That's more just like a compulsive tick. So in conclusion, the purpose of this video is not for me to convince everybody that taps their feet to stop. It's just to say keep an open mind and think about it. And if you are struggling with rhythm in any way, or you think your pocket could be deeper, just try keeping those feet still and see what happens. It can't hurt, right? I sincerely want to thank all of you for watching. It's really been a joy for me to see this channel grow a little bit and to see people appreciating the videos. I'd like for it to grow a lot more. So please subscribe if this video has helped you out, and feel free to share. You know, these videos do take an extraordinary amount of time and effort to produce. So if you'd like to help me even more, help me produce more videos, consider leaving a super thanks by clicking the thanks button just below the video screen. You can leave anywhere from $200 to $500. Every little bit helps. Or also consider supporting me with a one-time donation by using the Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo links that I have posted in the description. And check back soon for part 2 of Time is Money, where we will discuss some excellent strategies, other than foot tapping, that will help you improve your time. Thanks again and happy practicing.